it has paid off. And I think if you're someone that's maybe sat in a job and feeling a little bit stale or feeling like it's maybe not the right path for you, people aren't necessarily going to always bring opportunities to you. You need to be bold enough to switch lanes. So I would say go for it and just keep going.
Hi everybody, this episode I've actually wanted to do for a really long, like when I say really long, I mean like a year and a bit. So the fact that we're doing it now, I'm super excited. I've got Victoria Dixon, head of creative at Whitepaper. If you've seen Whitepaper, you'll know they're everything about that spits out that business is dreamy perfection, Instagram like wizardry. And if you don't know them, definitely start following that company because the inspiration, the even the pictures make you feel this sense of like, so yeah, it's very cool. They've recently been awarded like fastest growing business Sunday Times award. We'll dig into that. But yeah, Victoria Dixon's head of creative. So if you think about everything like brand, socials, the design lead, everything that's coming out of that from interiors to all across the business and the brand, that's who I'm talking to. So it's massive and I'm really excited. So let's dig in. Welcome, Victoria. Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you for having me. I mean, wow, what an introduction. That's a quite exuberating start. So
Well, I think you must have heard that a lot. You must know that the stuff that, yeah, like I said, the stuff that comes out of Whitepaper is next level.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's we definitely got a lot of really good feedback. And I think what's really cool is from the start, maybe we were like quite unknown, definitely like underdogs or certainly less established when it was a small team. And I think over the past few years, we've kind of made the transition now into being thrown into the mix much more. And, you know, with the team growth, we're definitely looking at some really top tier projects and the whole thing's just been able to evolve. So yeah, very exciting.
Massive. And I think winning that Sunday Times, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, well, how long ago did you get that in?
Yeah, really recently, I think just like a couple of weeks ago. So pretty big news to hear.
Was
Really
that a
exciting.
shock for your like team? Were you blown away or did you know it was coming
Yeah,
really?
no, like completely unexpected for the team. And yeah, we were kind of just chatting earlier about it, but I guess you see the momentum build like from the team. I think you see the team grow, you see the project expand, but then that's just kind of in our own little bubble, where then to know that externally compared to, I guess, all these other really forward thinking and innovative companies out there, that you're also doing such amazing things, I think it's quite validating and definitely a time to kind of reflect and celebrate.
Yeah, I suppose it is validating, isn't it? That's kind of like, yeah, okay. It's not just me that thinks it's wicked. Like,
Yeah, and I guess like you can really, you know, get caught up in being busy. Like everyone is so busy and works so hard. But then to kind of know that it's what's actually coming out of that and the success and like being, you know, more people hearing about us and more people being interested by what we do. I think we've always been probably a bit more on the mysterious side and kind of just worked with people we've known. So now you definitely just find more and more opportunities just kind of landing our way. So it's very exciting for everyone.
it's so exciting. So if I was to whiz the time back, like you were, what do you call it? Like, not like a regular, like design and
Yeah.
build firm, like one of the big names. You've been there, you've done that.
Yeah.
And then when you transitioned to Whitepaper, was it a startup or like how early days was it for?
So I've actually, I think this week is my 6 years at Whitepaper, which is really cool. The company was established 8 years ago, so it's kind of relatively new, I think, in the world. Although, you know, when I started, it was so different. There was a handful of us all kind of sat around a table, so much smaller, so very different to the company I was at before, where, as you said, like big company, really established, really had a name for itself. So yeah, making that kind of transition over was I guess a bit of a leap.
Yeah.
But
What did that feel like? Like your first week or month or whatever at this, like little Whitepaper? You didn't know it's going to go on and win these Sunday Times awards
Yeah,
back in
no,
then.
like back
How'd that feel?
then, yeah, I think it's hard because my time before working at a big company, I think I reflect on it so positively. Like what I learned and the skills I picked up, and also the amount of people you work with, and you meet designers from all around the world, which I think is a really cool thing about working in a big company. It's like you've got people from all these different countries and how they do things, and I think the speed that you learn is really cool, but also not necessarily like people are out to kind of help you and hold your hand, because everyone is very caught up in their own way too. So I think that that kind of essence of the close knit community is can be quite different in a big company. Um, and I think my time there, I kind of had such positive times and actually really loved it. But I started to realize that I kind of was maybe being a bit limited in my growth, and probably wanted to just sort of explore new things and challenge myself. And I think it felt like the right time to maybe see what was out there. So yeah, opportunity came up to kind of have a conversation. Um, did my research and realized it very small company, but had an interview with the two founders. And I think particularly if you're having an interview and it's like the actual, founding people that created the company who are there they're interested in you, and they really kind of want to hear more, and they're genuinely excited about what you're sort of saying, that it kind of felt like a no-brainer. It was like I feel kind of seen and I feel like valued immediately. And I could also see they super ambitious, super passionate about what they wanted to do, like big dreams. So I think the energy felt very different. It felt very dynamic, and it was a move over to kind of a much more vibrant area, Shoreditch. So it I think looking back, it was a big leap, but it was definitely just a go with your gut kind of feeling, and it all felt right. So
Yeah, that's quite an important instinct though, because you said it quite casually there, which is cool. I'm glad you kind of got that trust in yourself and I believe in yourself. But a lot of people like might be where you were 6 years ago
yeah.
and thinking about going freelance, thinking about breaking into smaller bits, like where they can maybe have more impact or be more seen or something, like whatever that might be. Or it might be the reverse. Someone might be in a small business thinking up going up to a bigger one. And I get it. There's not a right and a wrong. It's just your personal journey.
Yeah.
But that gut, how did you develop that? How do you trust that? What do you look for in yourself, like to do that?
Yeah, I think it is really interesting, and like you said, it's probably hopefully quite a relatable topic for people, knowing when the time is right. But I think even from early on, I've always been quite risky and quite bold, and I think it is just like trusting your gut and knowing when it's the right kind of feeling comes along. So if I kind of think back to even university, I started off studying architecture. Um, and, architecture is like the most phenomenal field, but you don't do it at GCSE, you don't do it at A level. So even kind of starting off day one, it's like you're taking a bit of a risk in that. But I quite quickly realized it was actually interiors I was really passionate about. So after my first year, I sort of switched over. And I remember at the time, like a lot of people thinking, "Oh, you're going from quite a prestigious course, or what's kind of known as this like, really amazing industry like interiors." I think it's people still mis think that it's picking cushions and colors, and it's kind of not really understanding what's involved, especially in the construction industry. Um, And then so I kind of made that decision to switch. I then at the end of uni kind of got an opportunity to move to London, which I just kind of thought, yeah, this is amazing. I had no comfort blanket in London. I knew no one. All of my family is up north. Um, Literally no friends. I just sort of made the decision, I'm going. I got offered a really cool internship that at the time I just felt like what an amazing opportunity. So again, just a bit of a no-brainer. I just sort of hopped on a train and moved myself to London. Um, and then other kind of like twists and turns, and I think like commercial design was never something I sort of woke up and was like, this is what I'm going to do every day. But I think I was just had a lot of different opportunities, and I kind of took internships that were unpaid, but because they were just at companies that I like really, really admired. So I was I kind of just always went with my gut and just thought about like the next move. It was never like the big picture. It was never like, okay, this is where I want to be and this is where I want to be doing. It was just like one strong one strong move at a time. And I think like brick by brick, you kind of just your path gets laid. But I also appreciate that that was much earlier on in my career when it can be tricky if there is more on the line, and knowing yeah, if there's kind of more at stake, it can be harder to make that decision. But I think just go with your gut.
Yeah, I definitely am like getting this vibe of like kind of adventure, kind of like bold moves, like experimenting, and always paid off for you.
Yeah, it has paid off. Um, and I think, if you're someone that's maybe sat in a job and feeling a little bit stale or feeling like it's maybe not the right path for you, um, people aren't necessarily going to like always bring opportunities to you. You need to be bold enough to switch lanes. So I would just say go for it and just keep going.
It's a really strong message, especially like this year, which feels like the year of freelancers. Like there's lots of people seem to be making these switches to smaller companies or setting up their own thing. I'm sure it's happening the other way, but I just feel like there's a lot of moving around. I suppose it's always been like that, but it's quite exciting times for people.
I think like, you've got to dream big, and like I said, people aren't going to carve your path for you. So you need to kind of make sure you're happy in what you're doing, you're feeling valued. And if you're not, then I think shake it up.
Yeah, no, wicked. And you sat around the table when you were early days of Whitepaper, you're all around one table, you said, and like now you're sort of planning
Yeah.
something wildly different from that in terms of what your space is now and like the growth for Whitepaper. Do you miss anything about those little startup days of just the few of you 2 years in?
Yeah, no, I mean, in some ways it's easier when you're a small team. Um, but I guess there's a kind of scrappy charm to like everyone wearing all the hats, and you're doing everything, you're all mucking in together. I think that's probably like something that has kind of like stayed with the company and the culture as you grow. But I think yeah, the I guess we all just having to kind of like muck in and knowing each other like inside out so well. What's really cool also is the people that were around that table when I started are all still there, and they're all in leadership roles. So as a company, it's definitely been something that's promote within and really like kind of stay true to your employees. So all of those people are still there. Um, and so yeah, I think I kind of miss miss well, I don't know if I missed all of the wearing multiple hats. That was a difficult time.
Yeah, it was nice you still got those core like relationships, those people that you kind of been with 6 years, you start to really kind of pillars of strength really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like the underlying thing was everyone just like worked so hard and was had that kind of integrity, and no job was too big or small. So I think when you have employees like that are just like willing to show the grit and kind of put the hours in and be so determined, that is kind of contagious, and I think sets the kind of the ethos and the company tone.
And what's changed now? Now you're 6 years down the line,
Uh,
you've lost some of that. How's it different?
it's hard. You have to work really hard to maintain the spirit as the company grows. Not maintain the spirit, but maintain, I guess, that like original core culture that is kind of set out. But I would say what's changed is just the scale. The team grows naturally, but with that, the expertise grows. You can invite in that skill set that's only going to bolster, um, and it enables bigger projects. So the kind of all the stuff we set out to do, I feel like we're still doing. It's just now on a bigger scale, and you have more people to kind of like support that dream and to bring in their own flair as well. Um, so yeah, it still kind of feels like the same company, even though there's just more people invited. Yeah.
Do agree with that. As it gets a bit bigger and you've got different dynamics and mindsets, it's actually really healthy. It like challenges you even as a leader, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
start to looking at things differently and open your eyes to. But then again, yeah, the culture can get watered down very quick unless you're
Yeah.
constantly
I
working
think
at it.
I think that massively comes down to, your leadership team, supporting that culture and, driving forward the ethos too of like, this is how we do things. And, if it's in a positive way, people do kind of need to really buy into it. Like you're going to definitely in our company stand out like a sore thumb if you come in and, are not collaborative and thinking or putting people first or like standing together as a team, because that is I think that's what makes up a really good company. So yeah, you kind of have to just buy into it or else it's not going to
It's not
work.
going to work.
No.
Well, that's great. That's really great. And do you still get to be hands-on creative? Like the stuff that's coming out, how much influence are you having on that, or is it more just only strategic work you do?
Yeah. um I'm really lucky that it is very, very hands-on creative. I've been able to kind of tailor my job to just basically be creative vision, which is super cool. We
That is
have
like kind of the perfect job, right?
It's the dream, right? It's the dream job. And obviously it comes with, stress and pressure and it's definitely every day is completely different. Um, but that's kind of the beauty of it as well. But like you said, the team, yeah, it's grown so much. I think as a design team, we're 17 people. The company's, over 50 people now. So it's a big share of the team is creatives. Um, so it's more about having kind of oversight. You need to know about everything. You have to really ensure that like quality is there and make sure you can spend time with everyone. When I say 17 designers, I also, that's including like technical and graphics and everyone. But as an interior design team, it's about just like working very closely with them. Um, and obviously, you can't be hands on doing everything yourself. And also, I don't know if it's all, it, no one wants it to just kind of all be my design and my vision anyway. It's really trusting in the team and getting the most out of them and kind of just bolstering and giving them the support and guidance. Um, so yeah, it's very cool. I definitely love what I do. So.
Yeah, I do think everything that comes out of white paper has got like a white paper magic
Yeah.
to it. It's got a.
We hear that a lot. There's just a thing.
I reckon I
Yeah.
could see a picture of your project, not know it was white papers,
Yeah.
like in terms of it's not written on it, and I'd be like, yeah, that's a white paper project.
Yeah.
Is that something that you embrace and that you're proud of and that you want people to come to you because they want that look, or are you trying to break that and diversify from that and do more different looks and feels, or is it just what people ask for?
I think so we definitely I mean firstly thank you for saying that. We care so much about each of our projects, and I think really ultimately it comes down to like I'm very biased, but I think we just have the best design team. I think everyone is just so passionate. They all bring their own kind of flair and personality. So I think where the magic comes from is the kind of attention to detail. We spend a lot of time upfront thinking about concepts, and we really don't want kind of things to just like feel the same. But I think it's like that attention to detail no matter what size of project you have an interior designer really making sure that the rugs and the artwork and the cushions, but also the ceiling coordination. There's so much, the lighting and like everything has to be curated as a full scheme. So that really, like, really good design only kind of comes with having that attention to detail. Um, so I think we're just very passionate about each of our projects, and when you compare it maybe to other companies where it's like it needs to all be done quite quickly and obviously it's a fast-paced industry, I think we really kind of hold on to where possible, getting as much detail in there.
Mm. I do think you have quite a boutique feel
Yeah.
in a complimentary way, not like small. I don't mean that. I mean like it's got like kind of handcrafted kind of love feel to it. And it's
Mhm.
all very, yeah, aesthetic and calming. Yeah, I think it's the boutique bit that
Yeah.
kind of gives it that kind of magic
I think
sparkle.
Yeah, I think where commercial workplace has definitely grown, and I think, hopefully we definitely feel like we're one of the leaders to kind of um, make our mark in that, is not having that kind of just like blanket approach to how things should be done from just like practical and functional. It's about thinking about spaces that you're gonna spend so much of your time in the office, right? It's, like, crazy when you think probably more time than you even spend at home.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you're designing these spaces, obviously, it has to work, the functionality and the flow, and that's kind of it's such a big part of it, but it's almost like the base. It's now thinking about, okay, how people are gonna feel in the space, and, um just what's the atmosphere like? Is it cozy? Are they gonna be comfortable having these kind of meetings, and just creating spaces that I think people want to be in and not just have to be in. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's and
I can see
so
you pondering, you're like, "Yeah, it's food for thought."
it's so true though, because like you actually mentioned it earlier that people might think design is about choosing a few cushions and matching it to a rug.
Yeah.
And I so agree with you that people do feel like that. And it's so far from the truth. And I often am talking to people and I'm like, design is like a multifaceted skill set from psychology, like understanding behaviors, like exploring people's strengths and helping them flourish, whether they're extrovert, maybe neurodivergent in some ways. And there's like business processes and how you want people to feel and how you want people to move and how you want people to collaborate or maybe not collaborate or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And I'm like, it's not a curtain or it's not a rug or it's not a
Mm.
wall finish. It's like a psychology piece, like
Yeah.
almost, and it's phenomenal when it works. It's just like it's the impact it has on how people think and feel and behave is
Yeah.
massive, and then obviously in turn like ROI and stuff. So which is why people do it. But I just it's so what you said is just so hit like a hot button for me. I'm like so like yes, like it's so important. It's so key.
Yeah, I think like exactly that, the psychology and make it how you can make someone feel in a space is just so important, and also in one space you can make people feel different emotions. So, you can create in in your reception areas, you might want it to feel really cozy and inviting, and you might want that essence of your brand or whatever to hit you really hard as you kind of come through the door. But, open plan, you might want it to feel like much more fresh and invigorating, and you're going to be spending a lot of time there, so it kind of can't feel as kind of cozy and like all of these things. But I think that's part of understanding the client's brief and what they need and who they are as a company and what they also want their visitors to feel. So yeah, there's layers of. I feel like a brief take is never just quantities on a spreadsheet, which sometimes you get. You really have to kind of dig into it and understand like who's coming to this space. How do you want them to feel? How does that reflect in the materiality and the colors and the lighting? Like lighting is so important. Um, can you adapt that through the day? Do we want it to be really bright in the day? Do we want to be able to tone it down for different points or different people? And I think the industry, the more it looks at flexibility and adapting its surroundings to is, I mean, that's a whole kind of other topic. But yeah, it's cool to understand that you're such a big part of something.
Someone's life,
Yeah,
someone's
it's like quite
success.
so deep.
No, it is. Like, I always think that, like, I'm privileged to be able to touch people's lives because even now they go home, how they, from how they've been at work, it will impact how they go home
Yeah.
and their relationships, their night's sleep, their everything. Like, it's the interior is so massive. It's like an honor to be like touching such a massive.
I think going back to how you were saying like the white paper style, I think a lot of it comes through like there's a real calmness. There's the tactile and the kind of feeling of like coziness, but and obviously not for every scheme, but I think it needs to for us quite often there's a big focus on do people feel like comfortable and calm in the workspace.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there a particular trend you're loving right now?
so I think trends are really difficult in design because I love them and I'm, reading the magazines and articles. Like I'm such a just kind of such a design lover that it's really cool to stay up to date with trends. But I think you also have to really kind of know when like what does work and be able to pull like palettes together that are quite timeless and know how you can kind of just mix things up for people so that in 5 years time if they really want to shake things up they're not having to pull everything out and stick it back together. um but in saying that also, not everyone's taste is the same, so you have to also be able to kind of work with the client's preferences and their palettes and things like that. I would say more of not necessarily a trend that not necessarily a trend, but more of a movement is moving, I guess, that more hospitality feel into the workplace. So how people now, and even that kind of residential style that we just touched on, making offices feel definitely more like how you'd want your house, or if you're going to go out for a coffee and things like that. I think that's been a real, post-pandemic movement for sure. Is now people are choosing to be in the office when they could be at home. So let's make sure again that the office space is kind of really beautiful and not just a functional place.
I like that you mentioned the word movement though, because I do agree trends are can be fleeting, they can be unsustainable, it can mean that you're ripping something out because it's out of fashion now and all that sort of thing, which and I hear that like whilst it's exciting, it can be detrimental. But
Yeah.
when you talk about a movement, like a shift in thinking, like, oh, now spaces don't have to be grey floors and walls and white desks. We can now actually incorporate something more. That's not just a trend. That's like people now changing how they work. And it's the modern world.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you said the word movement because that's massive. Like that is what we're keeping up to date in a fresh, modern, adapted world.
Yeah.
But it's not just a little like, oh, let's go with lime green because it came in. Like,
But it's like it's cool to explore like those things too. You need to kind of just because you're a designer that loves a certain color palette and colorway and materials and doesn't mean like you have to always use those things. Like you need to be able to switch up again and like love things, but then know that you might not love it in a few years, but you might be, sick of it too. So yeah, I think definitely focusing on movements and less so on just trends because they're cool right now. Yeah.
you mentioned your team a lot, and
Yeah.
that's great. I'm glad you love your team, and the culture must be huge to have the continuity of what's coming out. What makes a great hire? What do you look for if I'm
Yeah.
looking for a job?
So, yes. Are you applying for a job?
I am.
Um, yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, so we've grown from when I started, there was only, two designers, and now a big team. So we've been myself and Meg, who's head of design, we've been kind of involved in hiring and handpicking each of those. So it's really cool to kind of see, a lot of those people were also graduates who came to us with no experience and they're still with the business. And so we're quite fortunate to never really kind of like lost people. They just sort of, they stay there. But in terms of what we look for, I think, you know, fundamentally they have to have like the kind of skill and all of that is like baseline. Like they need to have that like technical knowledge. But for me, more personally, I think there's two things. I think it's like meeting someone and how they come across in like quite an authentic manner. So even in like a kind of 20-30 minute meeting with them, do I really get a flavor of who they are, and do I actually think it's authentic? And that can be really difficult in an interview situation, because obviously you're putting on your best, and you're aware that you're like presenting to someone who presents, so that can be even scarier. But I think if I can really get a sense of, you know, does conversation flow very naturally, and how are you holding yourself, but is really important to me. But then I think also like passion is just huge. We get so many CVs who have got like incredible experience and they've worked on all these big projects, but then if they talk me through their portfolio and things like um and examples of work, if I don't feel like they're passionate about it, it's just a non-starter, I think. And if you're feeling that way, where maybe you've worked at a company where you necessarily haven't had the most inspiring projects, or you don't have those examples of work, my advice would be like do a passion project and just make something up, like curate something that does showcase your style and what you can do. And I definitely had to do that in the beginning when I had zero experience and I had nothing to show and I was trying to get a job as a junior. So I literally just got on SketchUp and made up a scheme and pulled together mood boards to, because then you can talk about it with passion, and you can say why and where the inspiration came from. And that's another big part to it. I want to hear where like your inspirations come from, even if it's a super flat scheme and you have no budget and there's, the client wants this, da da da. You need to be able to find a story and find the creativity in there, because that is just the reality for this industry too. Like there isn't always going to be those like really amazing big schemes, but if you can take something quite baseline and show where your inspiration has come from, I think that's so interesting and such a key skill to be able to carry over. So yeah, for me, it's a lot about personality, and less so about what you've kind of done. I wanna see that you're gonna be able to talk through anything with a client and kind of really show them that you're the right person for the job.
Yeah, I think that is gold dust. Hearing that from head of creative, from the fastest growing Sunday Times Award, someone that's hiring flat out. I do also hear, and I've even had junior designers on this podcast, and they've been really enlightening, talking about how challenging it is to get a job in this industry, how to break through. And to be honest, their points aligned exactly with you. They were talking about being passionate, but if you're looking for a job and you're applying and you're not getting through, maybe you need to look at your portfolio, what's exciting you, what's giving you that kind of sparkle and that energy.
Yeah.
Because
Just make it up.
yeah,
Just do something.
yeah,
Just pretend and be transparent. Don't,
yeah,
don't say you've done something and you haven't. But it's more interesting to me to see like what you could do if the opportunity was endless, or like even how you've taken a small opportunity but you've kind of spun off in one direction. Like that's way more interesting to see your capability and your big dreams rather than what you've done to date. Because we've had some really impressive CVs, but that's just the spark isn't there, so it's not worked out.
that's massive. And is that any different to 6 years ago when you were hiring? Do you now, is there anything you value more, or something that's like grown on you, or something that you maybe stopped looking for that you used to?
Yeah, I think hiring now is really difficult because again, we have an amazing team. It's big boots to fill,
Mm.
and I think people have to come in, and also like each of the designers has their own personality, their own flair, and I also that is just what makes our team so great. But it's like, are they open to also like working collaboratively? We're a big share culture, so even though you kind of work on your project in, I guess, in silo independently, all the designers sit together. It's like a constant kind of flood of ideas, which is very cool. Um, so I think it is sometimes thinking about like the team dynamic and what they'll bring, and we never want to kind of bring people in with like an ego or someone that is maybe not gonna also fit into the wider team culture too. Um, so there's definitely there's a long list of boxes to tick, which it's definitely made hiring more difficult. But it's a very cool place to work, so I can see why people want to make the move.
Yeah. Little plug there, and I like that. But no, I get it. Like, because when you're bigger, they got to kind of fit in some ways, but they still got to bring their personality in another way. And it's about like juggling that,
I
right?
guess, yeah, I don't want that answer to kind of be driven, like seen as you have to kind of do things our way. Like it's definitely about what like value you're going to bring to the team. Like that's huge. But I guess also we're just like the clients that we work with and have worked for a long time is like we really, really value their relationships. So, and the wider team culture and how everyone kind of really works together to kind of achieve this goal. It's you have to think about like multiple things. It's not just how great they are as a designer. It's like what are they bringing, um, what are they adding.
Yeah, it's complementing you, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's like it's building up you and your team and Whitepaper, but but it's got to fit in. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And what's next?
Oh, what's next? Um,
Next 12 months? Like, what's next for you and anything big you're looking to do?
I think I guess the exciting part is like you never know. Like that's the really cool thing about this world is like the opportunities are just they just kind of have been bigger and bigger. So I think for us, it's, we never say never. It would be cool to maybe delve more into the sectors or, I don't know, maybe even go international. Like, let's dream big. But I think personally for me, it's just about maintaining, like, becoming a really strong leader of the team as well and making sure that I'm working really, really closely just to continue to enable the other designers and be that person that they can kind of bounce their ideas off and be that support for them. So I think, yeah, just as we move on to do bigger and bigger things, I kind of naturally grow with the team too. But yeah, I think just the exciting part is not knowing what's next. It's
Yeah.
just being open minded and being ready and um,
That's kind of goes all the way back to the start, doesn't it? As to where it's like where you got to here by making bold decisions and not necessarily having a big vision and a simple straight line map. It's about like rolling with the punches in a really positive way. That sounds like a negative saying actually, but I didn't
no,
mean it to be.
rolling with the punches, definitely so. And yeah, I think for, going back to the kind of founders of the company, I don't know if they ever knew it was going to be where we're at now. I think they just again made some really bold decisions and made some really good hires and yeah, it's all very
Paying
exciting.
off, yeah.
Yeah.
One last question for you. What's a book or a podcast you have read or are reading that you'd really recommend?
Oh, okay. So I'm currently reading, and I read a page every day of the book called The Daily Stoic. So yeah, so it's an interesting concept. It's every day there's one page, and every month there's a new topic. And it's just all about kind of like Stoic mindset. So how to, I don't know if it's like a world that you're kind of familiar with.
No, I'm
Mm.
definitely Googling it.
Yeah, but it's cool. It's just one page every day. I also, read alongside that like other books and stay up to with lots of articles, but it's a really good I either try and do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night, and it's a really good way to set your tone for the day. There's like a little hidden message in each page, almost like a meditation, which is really lovely, and it's something to kind of reflect on or carry through each of your days with you. So I would recommend that to
Very
everyone.
mindful.
Very mindful, yeah.
Brilliant, amazing. Well, thank you, Victoria. That's been like Yeah, gold dust hearing that from you, the whole journey, that growth, the white paper magic, what you're putting into a team, what you look for from people. I just think it's so exciting to hear from someone of your position and what you've achieved as well, but also from like a white paper perspective and the brand as well. So really appreciate it. Obviously, I know I always say it, but do rate the show, do follow the show. It helps the whole algorithm thing, which I've got no idea how it works and does anybody. But anyway, thank you so much. And wait, until next time,
Thank you so much for having me on. It's
you're
been so
very
fun to chat.
welcome.